Okay, so uh, I'll be presenting in English. Sorry for that. But let me explain slowly. So I would like to go slow as much as I can. So my name is Raja Rajendra Timilsina. So I'm originally from Nepal. So I have been living in Japan for quite a while. And I did my PhD from Kochi University of Technology. And during my PhD time, and even now I'm working as a research associate in Kochi University of Technology. So today, I would like to share some of the research that I have taken in Japan and also maybe in Nepal. So what kind of the results we get utilizing framework of future design. So let me start. So I'd like to begin with, I want to bit brief what happens in the human history, right? So two things basically that happened in in this world, in this earth. That is, I would like to say the two keywords today is revolution and evolution, right? So today where we are standing because we passed through these 2 points, revolution and evolution, right? So we started cognitive revolution 7,000 years. It took us 7,000 to really get over with the cognitive revolution. And then we live as hunter and gatherer for 7,000 years. Then interestingly, the next revolution that happened in the human history is agriculture revolution. So we live 12,000 years as an agrarian society. Cultivating, eating, everything seems to be quite fine. Then we have this scientific revolution, right? Since yesterday, I have been I couldn't catch up most of the Japanese, but I could see the graphs. In those graphs, we keep seeing one thing, that something is increasing. And definitely we gather here for some purpose, right? So within 500 years of scientific revolution, we are really so worried because we bring up so many problems with us, right? So what happened in the cognitive revolution is, let's see, so we climb top of the pyramid in a food chain, right? So time we start to socialize because as a hunter and gatherers, I said we live for 7,000 years. So time we start to socializing, improving our social skill. We try to become a social animal and we jump to the top of the food chain. We became proficient hunters. And social cooperation is our key to reach to the top of the pyramid. Then, large number of strangers could easily cooperate. How that can be possible? We cannot keep maybe 100 chimpanzee in one stadium. They will start to fight. But as a humans, right, we go, we have been watching soccer. People from different countries, different nationalities, they gather together in a stadium, but still they watch soccer and enjoy that. So why that was possible? Definitely thanks to the cognitive revolution. large number of strangers cooperate successfully by believing in a common myth, a collective imagination. So, what is this? How does this collective imagination evolve over the period of time? So, I'll say language, right? What is very unique with us? Definitely the language, which we share as a common things among each others. Okay, now in the evolution part, what happened? Let's see. So initially we were called Homo erectus, upright man. That was one of the benefit what makes them survive at that time. Then we call it Homo habilis, a handyman. Then we are called Homo sapiens, wise man, right? Because as I told, for 7,000 years we have been utilizing our cognitive skills. And then, what now? So maybe we have this one unique capabilities that other animals, they don't have. For example, chimpanzee or any other animals, that is thinking about the future, like imagination, this prospection. And like there's a very popular paper by the Gilbert in 2006, prospection, experiencing the future, means we have this skill and we can really utilize it to solve so many problems. And let's see, we live, so, and this is very interesting things that what we do is like. So there was this research which conducted by the Gilbert himself, and they collected 2,250 samples about like mind wandering. Means they find out 46.9% of the people keep wondering, keep thinking something that is not happening. Means they are not living in present. They're thinking about the future. So this is a very interesting part. A human can predict the hedonic consequences, events that they never experienced. Then we can use this skill for planning to simulate plausible outcomes to the alternative future, right? So this is where future design is going to work. So, interestingly, culture is something that transmits from one humans to another. And interestingly, animal, they also have a culture. Animals also have a culture. We also have a culture. What is the difference? As I said earlier, only difference that we have is we can do a collective planning, and this thing is possible. So collective planning only becomes possible when group members can share a vision about future through prospection. So human social life was able to take off in new direction through ability of prospection that enables us to understand others and we could cooperate. So, what makes us care about a future generation? Right? There is definitely something that makes us care about a future generation. And so many of us, we are practicing from our own field, utilizing different methods. Can we cooperate with future generation to maintain an intergenerational sustainability? Why do we have so many intergenerational problems now? As I said, we live as hunters and gatherers for 70,000 years, in an agrarian society for 12,000 years, and just 500 years, and then we have so many intergenerational problems. Why are we having this, right? And so one of the thing is why intergenerational problem is occurring is, I would like to say, because it has one uniqueness. What is that uniqueness? That uniqueness is unidirection in nature. We can do harm to the future generation because people, those who are not yet born, cannot do any harm to us, but we can do harm by destroying our earth for them. So, sustainability is another keyword that has been discussed a lot in the last maybe 2 or 3 decades. So sustainability is a minimum condition. At least why we care about a future generation is we need to live at least same condition what we receive today, right? So that the welfare of future generation is not devastated. And so there was this experiment conducted in Kochi University of Technology with undergraduate student by Kamijo Airtel in 2017, and Shahryar also conduct this experiment in Bangladesh. So they define this intergenerational sustainability dilemma in this way. Intergenerational sustainability dilemma is a situation where we can affect future, but future cannot affect us. So we knew this, so why we are facing this intergenerational problem, right? So we try to see in a simple experimental setup how group of people react, what kind of decision do they take. And I will give a brief result on that. So for that, let me explain you what kind of experiment we actually did. And this experiment was initially designed by Professor Saijo. So we call it 3% intergenerational sustainability dilemma game. So there are 3 people in a group. So in a group, there are 3 people. They will sit down together and they will discuss, just like what we are doing now, talking about the climate change, intergenerational problem. And they will make a decision. So they will face, okay, so we call this, when we conduct this experiment, we call it AV game, right? So in this, there is a group. So group of people are linked in a sequence. So in a sequence, there are 6 generations. So second group, third group, fourth group, fifth group, sixth group. And the first group can affect second group. Second group can affect the third group. Third can affect the fourth. Definitely second cannot make any effect on first group, right? So this is a simple representation of intergenerational issue in a long term. That's how we define this. So let's see what's going to happen, okay? So 3 people in a group, they discuss about making a decision, choosing between 2 options. Option A, we can see 1200 points they get. Option B, 900 points they get, right? So this is the first group, here it comes. So it chooses option A, definitely. At this stage, because we don't know anything, if anybody is asked which you are going to choose between A and B, definitely everybody will say A. That's very natural, right? But what happens when you choose option A, okay? Whenever you choose option A, you reduce 300 points for upcoming groups. Like you can see in the yellow circle here, once this group choose A, 300 point reduce, right? From both the option A and B, it becomes 900 and 600. 300 points simply gone. But what happens if you choose option B? So when you choose option B, second group get the same condition, right? Like 1200 and 900. Just like I defined initially. We need to leave the sustainability as a minimum condition. We should leave to the future generation what we get today. So option B is sustainable option, right? Now, so this is what we should be taking if we really care about the future generation, right? Then, so this is the 300 point, this is which I explained. So I prepared some of the slides in Japanese. Now, let's see what happened with the A. So this group comes here, choose option A, and reduces the point for the next second group. Now, second group comes, right? Again choose option A. So point keeps declining for the upcoming group, you can see, by 300 points continuously. Then, if whenever we start choosing B, we are giving at least same condition back to the next generation. As you see, once the second group choose option B, right? Because first group choose option A, reduces 300 points. So now the option was 900 and 600. Then when the second group start choosing B, 900 and 600. Same condition is passed here. So this is how game goes, right? So this is very simple game. People could easily understand. Even I conduct this experiment in Nepal. Let me tell you a few facts about Nepal. If the education literacy rate of Nepal is maybe 65%, means only 65% of the population can read and write, okay? On top of that, maybe people who have education is like maybe 40%. On top of that, those who go to the university maybe like 20%, okay? So we conduct this game even in the rural area of Nepal. So somewhere here we conducted this experiment, and we conducted somewhere here. So taking the middle area of Nepal here. So we conducted in the urban and the rural area to see what is happening in our society, right? Because urban and the rural reflects, because definitely urban society is more modernized. So we want to see how this modernization is affecting us, right? Then there is the result. Simple result is here, okay? In the urban, you can see 35% people choose option A. It's not that surprising, right? We don't even know our neighbors. Why would we care about the future generation, right? But look at the rural, only 16% choose option A. And let me remind you, option A is unsustainable option. But that definitely gives you a higher point. Then we did another set of experiment with urban subject. Only with the urban subject, right? Because we are trying to find out what kind of mechanism can help us resolve this intergenerational sustainability dilemma situation. So we did baseline, so this is the same like previous 35.9% in the urban area. And we also implemented the imaginary future generation, which was also done in Japan, in KUT. Then we see with IFG, there is a slight decline in choosing option A. But, however, it was not that effective because only few percent has declined, right? Then we come up with this, we call it IA, so I'll explain what is IA mechanism all about. So IA mechanism is, we call it intergenerational accountability. Accountability as a responsibility that you take when you make a decision, right? Whenever we are making decision today, we should tell to our future generation, why did we take such decision, right? This is a simple accountable process. And when the language evolved in this world, language didn't evolve to share the story. If you really read some of the anthropological books, you'll find out the first recorded language was for accounting, means keeping a record of. Then, in a company, we keep records, right? Why we make this decision. Then, why not we become accountable to future generation? Can we be accountable to the future generation? Then we make this intergenerational accountability mechanism in which those groups now need to provide reason why they choose option A or why they choose option B. Then, and they will also provide advice to the future generation, right? So we see, interestingly, it declined to 14% from 35%, right? Then this is the experimental setup we did. Then we also did some practices we are trying to do now in Nepal. Look at this. This looks very amazing in a sense, in a negatively. Look at the waste, right? And this waste is on the side of the street. How difficult it is to walk, like people are really closing their nose and they're walking, right? So to resolve this issue, we start future design, the workshop for the waste management in a household level. And this waste, so we start using a solid waste management in Kathmandu, using a future design framework for policy making, asking people in Kathmandu city living what kind of future they could imagine and they want to give to the future. Then we also attempt a workshop with a municipality in Pokhara also for the waste management. So these are two practices that is ongoing. Then as a future work of future design, we are also thinking, so what is the problem here is we are also thinking, now, as I said, we have this skill of cognitive ability to develop ourselves, right? But our education system is still the old one. We are still following the old syllabus. So now we also want to use future design in education. And I think future design in a developing economy should be one of the course book to teach our kids. Because we are all about, interesting fact is we always think about the future. We always live in the future. Then we need to study about this. So if we are studying history, right, we study history. So if we study history, why not we study future? These two things should be taught together. That's what I would like to say. And that is what we are thinking to do. And then, thank you very much. So takeaway is, we can still design a better future for next generation, those who are yet to come to this world, because cooperation is human virtue. All we need is furthermore practice. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we have 5 more minutes. So any question? No, 質問とか question. Okay.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Very interesting. And my question is if the participants take option A, is there any pain or sacrifice? Because taking option A means in a real life, we have to give up something or we have to sacrifice for next generation. So if we play that game in this room, maybe 90% of the people take option B. But if we say, okay, if we take option A, we stop air conditioning, and how many people choose option B? So,
thank you very much for your question. It's a very nice question. So the sacrifice the people do by choosing option A, this game is more like model in a sense that taking option A is you are enjoying yourself, right? So definitely it is like turning on the aircon, for sure. B, you are sacrificing 300 points, right? So definitely we are becoming sensible about the energy use, right? Electrical use, right? So that is what we can consider as taking option B in real life. So that's what I will say. So definitely taking option A, for your questions, you ask me, is there any sacrifice? I will say there is no any sacrifice from the current generation. Thank you.
Okay. Any other?
Thank you very much. My name is Nobi Hanaki from Osaka University. I have 2 questions. One is, do you have any record or the content analysis of the message or the reason that they provided when choosing B and advices they provided in choosing B in the IA situation? And second is that this game, you know that exactly if you choose option A, there's a negative consequences to all the future generations, but in reality, maybe we don't know that. So, if there's an uncertainty about future consequences, what do you think will be the impact on the result?
Thank you very much. That's a very good question. I really appreciate it. So for your first question, yes, we do have content analysis, and we record for the group, we give 10-minute discussion time. Oh, so I didn't bring the result now here in this presentation, but yeah, you can find it maybe if you look at the website, I can give you the website where we have our draft. So in that case, you can see what kind of reason and the message the people have left to the future generation. So we have it in our draft. And then for your second question, so sorry, what was your second question? Yeah, exactly. So this is a very interesting part over here, right? Because in real life, we don't know how much impact we are doing to the future generation, right? So this experiment, in one sense, we can consider it in this way. If we know, like let's say tomorrow, technology becomes so good, we exactly know how much we are going to harm the future generation, right? Then are we still taking option A, right? So we see, at least in an experimental setup, people are still taking option A, right? That is the amazing fact. If you know exactly how much harm you are going to make to the future and you are still taking an option A, so that is the main idea of the experimental setup, that we, even knowing how much we care, right? So we like rephrase it in this way. Thank you.
Okay, I think time is up. Thank you very much.